Hello and welcome back to a particularly cozy episode of Math with Miss Davis. We are going to talk about multiplying binomials today, and there are two ways that you can organize your work visually. One is multiplying binomials using the box method, and the other is multiplying binomials using the distributive property. Both work. I'm going to teach you both, and then you can decide which one is your preference for how you want to organize your work. So we are going to do these examples on the outside so that before you open your notes, you'll have a visual reference of what is inside so that you can glance quickly and remind yourself which one's which. So the first method is the box method, and this is sort of like a Punnett square in science. You're going to set up your box by putting each term along a side of a square. So x plus 1 can go across the top like this, and x plus 3 can go across the side. Next, we are going to multiply to fill in the insides of the box. So x times x becomes x squared. 1 times x becomes 1x, and I'm going to bring the plus sign down. X times 3 becomes 3x, and 1 times 3 becomes 3. What you'll notice is that every time you do this, you will have like terms that show up on your diagonal. So once you have your like terms here, you are going to combine them to make a simplified final answer for your expression of multiplying. So this becomes x squared plus 4x plus 3. So that is multiplying with the box method. Let's go further in depth in this on the inside. There are 4 main steps when you're organizing your multiplication with the box method. 1, draw your box. 2, set up each term along the side. 3, multiply to find the product inside the box. And then finally combine like terms, which is adding to get your final answer. Let's do 2 more examples together. X minus 2 times x plus 8. So I'll set up x minus 2 and x plus 8. And it doesn't actually matter where each one is. Again, we'll get x squared. This becomes negative 2x. And we're going to use this as a minus 2x when we combine like terms. Plus 8x. And this will multiply to make negative 16. Once again, we'll notice that we have like terms on our diagonal. So before we find our final answer, we'll need to combine those. So we have x squared, and then a positive 8 minus 2 becomes 6x, and then minus 16. So we have found an equivalent expression written as a quadratic trinomial for our original expression, which was 2 binomials multiplied together. So 2 ways of writing the same thing, and we organized our work using the box method. Our final example is missing parentheses right here. And if you have coefficients in front of your x term, you're still going to set it up the same way as the others. We'll start with 3x minus 7, which could have gone along the side, and then negative 2x plus 3. Now we multiply to fill in our boxes. So this becomes negative 6. You multiply the coefficients, x squared. A negative 7 times a positive 2 becomes positive 14x. Don't forget the variable. This will become 9x. And finally, we have negative 21. Same as before, we notice like terms on our diagonal, and we're going to combine those for our final answer, which is negative 6x squared plus, and now we have 14, positive 14 plus 9 more, which is 25. No, it's not. It's 23. X minus 21. In case you were wondering, I have a calculator right here, and we really should use it, but it's dead. So 14 plus 9, 23. Fairly confident. Okay, so that is how to set it up using the box method, making sure that all of your terms get multiplied correctly. The reason that the box method is one that works is because what we're really doing here is we are distributing. So normally with the distributive property, let's say you just had 4 times the quantity x plus 2, you would do 4 times x and 4 times 2. But since you have 2 terms to multiply, you have to distribute the x and you have to distribute the 4. Some math teachers or people who practice math like to call this method FOIL because you multiply the first terms, that's f, the outside terms, o, the inside terms, I, and the last terms, L. The way that I draw my lines, usually it ends up looking like this, like giant crab claw or lobster claw. You can call this the lobster claw method if you want to. So x times x, x times 2, that's distributing the x on the top, and then here on the bottom, 4 times x, 4 times 2, distributing the 4 on the bottom. So what ends up happening is x times x becomes x squared plus x times 2 is 2x plus x times 4 is 4x plus 4 times 2 is 8. And you're still going to see these like terms show up. They just are in the middle of the expression before you combine, and this will become x squared plus 6x plus 8. So we're doing the same thing here, distributing both terms in the first parentheses to the second set of parentheses. It just looks different and it's a different way of organizing your work. So let's do a couple more problems like this on the inside, organizing our work using the distributive property. So here are the steps if you want to distribute in the same way I do, making that like claw. First, draw lines above and distribute the first term. Then draw lines below and distribute the second term. Finally, combine like terms and add to get your final answer. So this first one you're going to see show up a bit in algebra, which is x minus 5 squared. And we know that an equivalent way of writing this, since squared means times itself, is x minus 5 times x minus 5. So we're going to distribute, as we saw, x times x times negative 5 times x, negative 5 times negative 5. So first, x times x is x squared. X times negative 5 is negative 5x. Negative 5 times x is negative 5x. And negative 5 times negative 5 is positive 25. No variable for that one. So we're going to highlight our like terms if you have a highlighter, or just underline them. And these will combine. We'll get x squared minus 10x plus 25. And that's our final simplified trinomial that's equivalent to this binomial times itself. For our final example, we will do 9x minus 2 times x minus 4. So this time, as I draw the lines, I'm going to do each step instead of drawing all the lines first. So we begin with 9x times x, which becomes 9x squared. That's our first term. Now for the outside, we do 9x times negative 4. So this is a positive 9 times a negative 4, which makes a negative 36x. Our inside terms are, again, a negative 2 times a positive 1x, which becomes negative 2x. And then our last term is negative 2 times negative 4, which is going to be a positive 8. So you need to know your rules for adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing integers here. Otherwise, you will make some mistakes with your positives and negatives. So when we combine our like terms here, we get 9x squared, and negative 36 minus 2 more becomes negative 38x, and then finally plus 8. So I hope this video was helpful for you in learning how to multiply binomials and organize your work in 2 different ways. Now you want to think which one is your favorite, box method or distributive property. Whichever one you can choose to use throughout your work as you multiply binomials. Thank you.